Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 2 of our wonderful podcast, formerly known as Deep Dive, now called Beyond the Credits and Chords. I am one of your hosts, Practical, and I am joined by two of my bros.
This
Danny
is Rex.
Boy and Rex. Sorry, I cut you off.
It's okay,
I'm so
Danny
rude.
Boy.
I'm just excited.
We're starting the year off rude. It's okay. But do you
I'm
think
just excited for season 2. Sorry.
season 2? We should definitely take a moment of silence for a deep dive and say our goodbyes.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good launching point. Just in general, when you guys started it off and kind of went in a certain direction and had an idea and a concept, and then obviously both of you asking me to be on here kind of add a little flavor to it. So I did catch the tail end of that first season, but I feel pretty good. I feel like now that, we're starting fresh, we're starting with a new season, a new name, a new theme song. Thank you, Practical.
Ooh, yep. Thank you,
That was
Practical.
very good. I actually enjoyed that.
Thank you.
We had
It was
a hard
good.
time trying to listen to that because media files, But no, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited for this. We got a lot to talk about this season. We've gone over a few subjects, but we'll get to that bridge when we cross it. But how are you feeling, Rex? You're looking ever so lovely today, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It's this camera. My teeth aren't this white. I fucking promise. It's fucking crazy. I look at this, and this is a lie.
Your background is helping.
Maybe, probably that. But I look at this, I'm like, it's a lie. People are going to see me in real life after this, and I'm going to, fucking catfish them. But thank you. I'm excited for this season. I came in a couple episodes into Deep Dive that Practical started, and it was great. The name suited for what we were doing at the beginning, but we're on to bigger and better things, and I feel this name kind of more represents us now as a trio.
Right.
It does. It's a culmination of the progress we made, and I think it was the necessary move. So, R.I.P. to Deep Dive. But enough about the past. How about the future, fellas? 2025. This episode is us kicking off what we are going to cover this year, giving the listeners a little bit of a sneak peek, a little preview.
Give you something to look forward to,
Mm-hmm.
I always am one of those guys when, like, a new TV show comes out, like, how many episodes are there going to be, And then, like, if you're able to look at them online, what are they called,
Mm-hmm.
So I want to give that allure to the listeners now, that they're like, oh, I know in, a couple of weeks they're going to do this, or they're going to talk about this. They said that in the beginning, so... Yeah, I think this will be a fun little intro episode.
Absolutely.
This season will probably be twice as long as the last season, if that helps anybody. There'll be twice as many episodes, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Content. That's what we're all about.
Doing my homework at home.
Got some pretty excited stuff planning for you guys this year. We got a lot more bands that we're going to talk about, a lot more directors. Can't wait for both of those myself personally. We got System of a Down coming up. I know that I'm not super stoked on System of a Down. But
I'm very excited.
I think it's going to be a great episode. I think it's going to be great.
I'm looking forward to it.
It'll be a great episode for sure. Those are albums that I've listened to forever, like since they've been around, like whether I've liked them personally or been hanging out with somebody who was a huge System fan and just always had to be around it. So it will be a great conversation to have with you guys. I'm really looking forward to talk about Robert Eggers, though. I think he's on fire.
That's going to be a great one too.
Yes.
we all just saw Nosferatu, some of us twice.
I need to catch it a second time because the movie's long and there's a lot in it, and I feel like I missed quite a bit just because first time you don't get everything.
Sure.
So I'm hoping
that second viewing,
I'm hoping before the next episode I'll be able to catch it one more time.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more detail that you catch for sure. I mean, I was so lost in the camera work, but
dude, it's a beautifully shot movie, and it's not in black and white. Because I asked Practical before we saw it. I was like, "Is this movie in black and white?" He says no, but the whole time we watch the movie, it's got a very like what kind of like sepia tone to it, or something
kind of like hue and color to the screen. I mean, it was still color, but it was like an ominous.
I feel like it was looking
gray.
at like a 1950s color TV, like his tones. But it made for great shots. Plus Orlok with his mustache.
That's why that episode's going to be great, because we'll be able to talk about the characteristics, specifically of Eggers, and he seems to pay not only homage, but really great attention to detail for both classic Hollywood and, whatever subject matter and time period piece he does, he nails it. He's just somebody that, I think is an up-and-comer in the best possible way in Hollywood, and I'm excited to see what he does for the future. So.
Which being his first movie in 2016, he's still fresh off the lot, but he doesn't seem like it. But I'm excited. I'm excited for this season because I'm just, I don't know directors very well, so this picking directors type thing is going to be really sweet for me, kind of looking at movies in a different perspective than what I normally do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, I'm going to take you to school, sonny boy.
I'm ready.
And there's going to be more rap. I know that we've discussed, going through Dr. Dre, which, again, I mean, not a fan, but, I don't know that I've dove, past tense, into his catalog all that deep. So I'm looking forward to that a little bit, I guess.
Dr. Dre will be cool because, we'll talk about NWA and their influence in hip-hop, which will be very, interesting to go into, and then what splinters off into Dr. Dre's very successful career, which then splinters off to Eminem and 50 Cent, and the list goes on. So, love him or hate him, he's the reason we've got Kendrick Lamar right now, his influence is him and Snoop Dogg and Exhibit and all those West Coast dudes. It should be cool. I think you'll be surprised in what you might like this season.
I am excited to see your kind of reactions through all this rap will take you through, like different genres, eras, types, I'm just going to be curious at the end where you're going to land on it, whether you become a fan or if you find a genre that you're like really into.
It's not my least favorite genre, and we've talked about this. I've told country, man. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I went through it for years with, like I said, with exes, and like it just to me sounds very repetitive and just recycled, tunes and twang, and I'm always talking about drinking and driving. Like, come on, man, like that's not setting any good examples for anyone. Not to say that all music does that, but no, I mean there's little instances where I'll give things a chance, and I feel like rap has always been one of those. R&B, anything urban, if you will, if I could be politically correct.
Yeah.
I will always give it a chance, but I'll have to see if I can start really interpreting lyrics rather than listening to beats, because that's usually the way I listen to that music is like, oh man, this beat is awesome. Like I could give two shits about the lyrics. But now, if we're really going through a lot of this stuff, which we will with different artists especially, listening to the lyrics and putting more of a picture with it might, set my mind at ease in the sense of like, oh, these guys are like actually good storytellers, like they're not just like, N-word this, my bitch, blah, 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 like it's not always about that. I mean, it's the style, I guess, in certain cases, but...
I mean, about 60% of rap is that, though.
It'll be fun to actually... put an ear to it, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah, because we're gonna do stuff like Outkast and Nas and Dr.
Can't wait for Nas.
Maybe even Jay-Z, depending on what happens with his bullshit. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe we don't need to pay him any mind if he's tied up in the sauce. But we'll find out when we find out.
Oh, he's in that sauce deep. He's deep in the Diddy sauce. But no,
it'll be cool because we got metal too. We got progressive rock. A lot of that stuff I'm gonna be tossing at you guys as well, which I know. Danny likes a lot of that shit, but I'm not sure about you, Rex.
I find that a little bit more easier to listen to, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I'll be throwing things from all over.
I know one of you, probably Rex, is going to throw one at me that he knows I'm going to just absolutely dread. I choose not to say what it is because I don't want to give him a head start.
Bayside, coming to a podcast near you.
God damn it.
In Rex's defense, I feel the same exact way about doing John Mayer. So,
I'm on board with that. That's fantastic. I love John.
No, you do. That's what I'm talking about. You wanted to do John Mayer. I don't like John Mayer. I'm just saying. I feel the same way.
I thought you were saying, because I was like, I actually took one of my picks, but okay, cool.
No, you wanted to do it, so we're gonna do it. But like,
we're doing everything. We're doing everything. That's what's great about this podcast too. Is the sky's the limit. Like, I mean, we could even pull some random artists that we all dislike out of a hat.
Oh, for sure.
That would be a crazy episode.
And at least for me, that seems to be somewhat easier. You know, when I was talking about it last season, like listening to new music has been something for me that I've been trying to do more. You know, not going back to stuff that you listen to all the time in your car because you like driving to it or this, that, and the other. Like trying to legit find something new where it's like, okay, this might not be a sound I liked 10 years ago, but maybe now my ear is a little bit more in tune with it and I would appreciate it a little bit more. And again, I did that this year with the music that I chose for my top fives. Like if you would have asked me at the beginning of the year, those would be my top five albums. I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? I would never listen to that, you know, but going outside of my comfort zone, I'm appreciating newer stuff a little bit more. So yeah, I would totally be on board with an idea like that. Just, you know, picking something new and spontaneous that maybe none of us have heard of and, you know, kind of going down that rabbit hole of what they've got to offer.
Musical Russian roulette.
Exactly. We gotta throw in something really bad in there. Like throw in a sexy red.
We're doing a music roulette. And, you know, someone's picking one and they just get to choose. I like that.
That would be a fun episode.
Right?
Yeah, there you go.
Really throw off the listeners when they're like, you know, so in tune to thinking what our tastes are and then getting just this wild card, just like
all of a sudden like, what the fuck,
whoa,
Ice Spice?
Yeah, right. Oh my god.
What is this?
No, okay, Ice Spice is eliminated, please.
Just remember this episode when when those episodes come up and you're like, fuck, I gotta do this person? Fuck, I was so stoked.
That's why it's gonna be so fucking sweet. Oh yeah, I'm excited for this year, 2025, for this podcast. Behind the credits and chords is gonna be it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge.
I'm excited to talk new films. There's a lot of movies coming out this year. A lot. Some that maybe we might not be too stoked for as others might be. I mean, that for me is the Superman movie. Am I still going to go see it? Absolutely. I'll go check it out. But, like, I'm not getting that hype. And maybe my mind will be changed after I see the film and we talk about it. But
yeah, I got to watch it.
That's one of those ones that I feel like everybody's really hyped for. There's a few that I'm, like, having a blank with because there's so many I can think of, but I'm excited to jump into ones that maybe not all of us will agree on, but maybe I choose one that none of you two would want to go see and vice versa, things like that. I think that'll obviously add a little spice to the chord, if you will.
A little ice spice to this mix, you know?
I like that.
Which actually, real quick, side note on this real quick, Danny, did you see Craven the Hunter and what did you think? If you did.
I did.
Because I know you were excited.
I didn't. I was. I didn't. I'm
you had
really.
Second thoughts and it was better that way.
Yes. Yes.
You had the post-nut clarity.
When I went back home for the holidays, it was my intention to take our friend Bont and go, and we ended up watching a lot more movies at home, and I did see some disturbing films, that's for sure. So I still want to see Craven, but I might have to bring one of those movies into play and maybe put you through that torture that I was put through with a couple of those, because they're bizarre, they're hard to watch. I would rather watch Madam Web than what I watched, to be honest.
Oh wow, that's crazy, because that movie was so bad.
If you're out there listening, do not watch a Serbian film. Just skip it.
That's exactly what I was getting to. Yeah,
just skip that film.
It was rough, man. It was.
Don't know what that is, but now I think I'm gonna have to put one on. What's your favorite?
Oh my god! Oh my god! There's a couple though that I've been doing a little bit of research and trying to find those horror movies that are just like not really necessarily horror movies. They're just pushing the boundary of like WTF, like what the fuck, just over the top violence or just brutality, all sorts of crazy stuff to like push that envelope, because like it takes a lot for me to be scared, and in those certain instances with those types of movies, it's not even the scare factor, it's the gross factor. I mean, Terrifier 3 is a prime example. I still love that movie.
The movie's great.
Let's be honest, it's not scary. Like, it's just absolutely gory beyond belief, and it's kind of funny, to be honest.
We're in a new era of horror. We're all about it's like the shock value versus being scared.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's tough to scare people these days. You know, like desensitize shit. Like we've had horror movies and crazy shit. Like it's not like early 90s or 80s where that stuff was like, oh my God.
No, yeah. And I mean, like just current events and everything that's been going on in the world, we're desensitized to all that shit, unfortunately.
So it's like, this has got to be probably one of the directions horror has to go to survive, which I'm all for it.
Well, they leaned and still lean too hard on the whole jump scare thing, and
right.
That really
and
kills
that's
it
just
for
been
people.
overdone.
Yeah,
you know, I've seen it too many times.
And you know the fact that like it's predictable at this point. We've all seen it so many times that
don't open the door, don't go downstairs. Like,
the music is super tense right before it happens, and then you're like, I knew it was coming.
I almost get frustrated
shocked
when I'm seeing that. I'm like, are you, God? Why does nobody learn from these things, dude? It always reminds me of that commercial where, like, the 4 people are running from the killer. They're like, let's go hide behind those chainsaws. It's like, what? What are you talking about? There's a running car over there. Like, get in the car.
Yeah, I know what you're
So I hope, like you were just saying, that they kind of lean away from that jump scare crap. And, like, we have to, at this point, just do more gore, more violence, more, shock value. It's getting to be a little absurd and crazy, to be honest. But some people still do it well, and then I feel like adding more of a thriller aspect to a horror movie is better than making it just a horror gore,
Well, atmospheric horrors are way better than jump scares and other things like that, I feel.
Right.
But
I mean, it really depends on the film and how they use it, and it's not that jump scares are always bad or can't be good. It's just that they're so oversaturated and they're so expected that most of the time they don't hit like they're supposed to anymore for those of us who are seasoned movie watchers.
Right.
I mean, they're still going to get, I mean, girls love jump scares, they'll still fucking,
oh
my God.
Oh my God, let's go to the movies on Friday. I want to, like, pee my little skirt. Like, what?
And we're over here like, no, I want to see that dude sift through that other guy's guts with bare fucking hands.
Dude, throw her in the pit of needles.
Get the chainsaw now.
Give him that chainsaw rectal exam.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
No, that was some sick shit.
Those are.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good because as we cover the new things that are coming out, we'll do that with the side episodes and the main episodes, but we'll also be taking steps into time machines and doing discographies like we were last season of entire groups and artists and bands and it'll be fun.
Absolutely.
And same thing with the movies and the directors. And this year, I'm gonna shock the listeners. I'm gonna shock you fellas. We covered a lot of Tim Burton and things like that, but season 2 is going to be about some more obscure stuff, and then we're going to reach out to those obscure artists and say, hey, we appreciated your work. We're reaching out to you. We did a whole episode dedicated to you. Here you go. Thank you for what you've done. Here's what we think, and I like that about us. I think the sadistic episode really showed that this kind of thing isn't really done, and we're doing it, and that's what's kind of cool,
Right. It's almost like we're writing a fan letter, so to speak, but in the essence of like, hey, we're fans that are trying to get you more, focus, I guess you could say. Have people pay more attention to your work or your music or your craft or whatever. So no, I think that's obviously super cool that we were mentioned by him, and
yeah.
Our tactics are a little unorthodox here on the chord, but we do it in good fun, and it's it's the three of us kind of sharing our thoughts and insights on things that we think that some listeners might enjoy and might not know about and might want to hear more about, or might hate so much and want to hear why we love it. That's what makes this so much more fun. And
that ICP episode will be great.
Oh man, I'm not looking forward to that. I'll get
that
some
episode's
Fuego or
gonna be great.
I'll get some of that Fuego. What is it called? That soda?
Fago. Dancing in the Fago rain.
Fago. Oh my Lord.
Hey, I saw that shit at the dollar store the other day.
Really?
The other day, and I was like,
I don't know that I've ever seen that. Is that like a Midwest soda?
Yeah, or
Okay.
no, I don't know if it's I don't know what soda it is. I used to see it back in the day at like the shitty gas stations, like the ones that were always broken down and fucked up. They had the bottles of Faygo.
45 of soda.
Probably,
pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, if you know Juggalos, then yeah, it's definitely the Colt 45 for the Juggalos.
I'm not gonna lie. I think
Can't say I know any Juggalos. Thank God.
An ICP episode would be really fun because I think they're
I do too.
That started out with completely different intentions than they ended up, and I think you can hear it in their music. So as much as people like to clown on them, just like Limp Bizkit, we're going to do an episode on them too. That way we can kind of get through the bullshit and the hive mind mentality behind these groups and just talk about the music.
Just like Nickelback. Nickelback's going to be a big one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is.
No, I'm not secretly a juggalo, but I do enjoy their first 6 albums.
Do you got a Hatchet Man tattooed on you somewhere? And
I've got Violent J and fucking Shaggy 2 Dope figures over there, though. No joke.
Yeah. Hell yeah, that is tight.
Too dope. Oh, boy.
Yeah, he's too dope. He's too dope.
I bet
No, like I said, I've never been a super fan, but ICP was a group that my dad and I grew up
I'm
listening
sorry,
to.
my dad and I?
My
Your
dad
father
and I-
listens to ICP.
Yeah. The early shit. Because, again, we have always had an obsession with killer psychotic clowns. So before ICP was where
Good
they
God.
are now, before,
What a childhood.
before they were what they are now, they were more of a joke thing back then. They weren't taken that seriously. They didn't have this big following. They were like shock rap joke group kind of. So we found those albums fucking hilarious. We weren't listening to them like, let's bump this down the street. We were like, that shit's funny, like the Bloodhound Gang. You know? So that's what I mean by they've taken a different form now. Their music is now more influenced by the scope of which their reach has become versus what they started
cult
out.
following of Faygo?
Exactly. The Faygo following. Yeah.
The Faygo following.
The Faygo following.
That's got to
man.
be a real group, dude.
Maybe it should.
They're just called Juggalos.
Bro, somebody's got a Discord channel on that, and there's like 300 gigolos that just go in there and like
Gigolos. Hell yeah.
Yeah, they just get an ICP sesh going. They play video games with each other. You know, they talk about past times. They drink so much Faygo they passed out. Like
we gotta somehow work into these episode themes. Like when we do the ICP one, we do face paint.
Absolutely.
We give ourselves some
Absolutely
names.
you are more than welcome to, but I'm not doing that.
We do some. I think that'd be sweet. I would love to see it.
All right, here's how it'll work.
That's
we will
awesome.
agree to do it, but then when the day comes, only you're going to show up with the face paint on your face.
Right.
Hell yeah.
We'll call you Rexy 2 Dope.
Oh my God, please.
Call me
Pretty,
Raggy.
please.
And I think that's the core of our conversation pieces, though, and I think that the ICP thing is actually a really great example because there are things that
It's
have
gonna be crazy.
gained a reputation that supersedes their intentions or what maybe they started out sounding like or being like, and we're going to get into that nitty gritty. Same thing with Limp Bizkit or like you mentioned, Rex, Nickelback. Bands that the world just hates. Creed just hates to hate, even though you hate them so much they sold like 40 million albums. Get the fuck out of here.
What's crazy is I read that they
either.
made like the most money they've ever made in the last year.
Creed?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they were huge when we were younger, but their resurgence, and same with Limp Bizkit, like their second coming has been huge. It's been wild. I can't believe that they're back the way they are. But
It's crazy to know how old Fred Durst is, and then look at how he's deciding to dress now. He's like
Bad vibes.
he's like Johnny Knoxville. When Johnny
I love
Knoxville
that.
all of a sudden just decided to dress like he's from Old Grandpa or Grandpa, whatever that fucking movie he did. He looks like that now.
yeah, I know what you're saying.
Bad grandpa.
Bad grandpa. Yeah, Fred Durst is another one. It'll be fun
Bad
to talk
pa.
about him and the band, just because like he's got this reputation of he sucks, he's a douchebag, but let's get into all that stuff. Let's get in there with
yeah.
beyond the credits and chords. I think that'll be an excellent way for us to spend a lot of our time talking again, even with directors, lesser known directors, maybe directors that are not as well respected in their. Like I don't know how people feel about Kevin Smith. Does Scorsese see Kevin Smith and they're like, "Fuck that guy. He's not a filmmaker." But I don't know. He is to me. He's very important to me. I can't wait to cover him. He's definitely going to be earlier on in the season this year, especially after his new movie came out. The 4:30 movie just came out at the tail end of last year. Was actually pretty funny, pretty good. I actually can't wait to talk about that and for you guys to see that one. It's a far cry from his old days. It's not like Clerks or Mallrats or Chasing Amy where it's super vulgar, but it still shows Kevin Smith's able to tell a compelling story with some laughs in there. I think that's cool. So I'm excited, and I'm glad you guys are excited too, because I think we got new territory to cover, and yeah, I think it's going to be good times.
New boundaries to push.
Yeah, let's push those boundaries.
Just push it.
Absolutely. Talk about stuff that makes people uncomfortable, like conspiracy theories and
those.
all those wonderful things that make me go, "What if? What if?"
Did we land on the moon?
Right? What if the Earth is flat? But we all know that is a crock of shit.
Okay, I was that one. Yeah. I can't even get behind.
That's why I like the show, because I'm open to other ideas. I don't agree with either of the ones you just mentioned. I believe we've been to the moon, and we know the goddamn Earth is not flat. So those are my standpoints. But then there's the the JFK stuff. There's the suicides with Chester and Chris Cornell that we talked about, that I'm really excited to get into that one.
The secret Illuminati headquarters underneath Denver International Airport.
Or how about the Earth is hollow theory, where there's a civilization living inside our hollow Earth?
Or like up to date, they talk about how space is actually the ocean. Yeah.
It's funny because back in the
day,
day,
believes that shit.
And they believe there was a whole nother. People show pictures of like architecture from like 1900s, and they're like, "This is from a culture called Tartaria." And I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean?
What
That's
is
like
Tartaria?
in Quebec. It's apparently a civilization that was around, and they're behind the ice wall."
Okay, but not to push any buttons.
Game of Thrones. Let's
not
go.
To push any buttons.
Yeah.
How is that really any different than like Christianity or the Christian Bible? I mean, nobody was there to see any of that shit either, and they're like, "Hey, here's a book all about it. Let's lead the world with this."
Hey, my biggest problem is just like this one comedian said: "Why do people believe in religion but not magic?"
Right?
Both of them are like, you just gotta believe it. You just gotta have faith.
Can't confirm or deny either one of them, really. Or ghosts. There's a lot of great theories about afterlife and
oh, dude, I believe in the ghosts.
Yeah.
Well, what about when they said that 2012 the world ended, or 2015 the world ended, back when
Those
CERN turned on the Hydro Collider?
Dude, it's all their fault.
No, not the Mayans. The CERN Hydro Collider. They turned it on in either 2012 or 2015, and they said that's when all the shit went weird.
Yeah, they did
it again.
Recently,
yeah, they did it again.
Oh,
but they turned it on originally
when they do that. It's literally like playing Russian roulette with timelines. Like,
they made a little
let's
black
just
hole.
put you in this one here. Yep. Like everybody claims that Bob Barker's already died like 3 times. It's like, no, he hasn't. He died once, and that was recently.
Or that Avril Lavigne is dead, and what we've been seeing is just a clone.
I'm still not. Jury's out on that one for me. Yeah, and Paul McCartney. Come on, that's not Paul.
If it's not Paul, then that guy is crazy talented for somebody just copying somebody crazy talented.
Oh, I mean, plastic surgery is a wonderful thing, and
honestly,
also
mimicking is a lot easier than creating.
Correct.
Is he creating anything new, or is he just mimicking the things he's already done? Because anybody can learn a guitar riff.
Right. I mean, you have to
Singing's
give all
a little
the credit
harder.
when he was in Wings to his one-armed girlfriend.
He's like
1
80
leg,
years old.
one leg.
He's like 80-something years old and just came out with like his new... He's still dropping music, so... I don't know.
Okay.
But
I digress.
I'm not too... When I was a kid, I was obsessed with the Paul is dead theory. But as I got older and I did all the research, and I was like, yeah, obviously that's just fucking ridiculous. But I'm still open to it. You never know.
What about the Gucci Mane? What about the Gucci Mane theory? That guy went to prison. They said he died in there, and they switched him. And then Hobson said when he got really famous for a little while, they came to his house and were like, "Hey, you got to pay up. Like, you gotta, if you're gonna be this big, you gotta pay in." And he had to go and dress as Gucci Mane or some shit. And there's like pictures of it.
I'm not familiar with the Gucci Man.
It's just another one. A celebrity died, got swapped out, just like Avril Lavigne, basic shit. But it's actually a rapper who we're gonna do a podcast on soon, eventually. But he said in an interview that they did that. He went to some weird location.
We're gonna do who? Gucci Mane?
Hobson.
Oh, Hobson.
Gucci Mane can suck.
I was like, I don't see that on my calendar.
No, Gucci. I am Gucci off that.
No, I'm just kidding. If the people want us to do Gucci Mane, we'll do Gucci Mane too. I'm not gonna like that shit, but I will give my insights.
The one bad thing about if we do these newer rappers is they're not accustomed to doing like the every 2-year fucking album thing and then like maybe an EP. They're always dropping stuff constantly, so it's like,
how do you listen to it all?
Yeah, how do you listen to that really? Like, I mean, and sometimes their biggest songs are features that they did on somebody else's song.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like newer rappers these days are a little more like, I don't know, like just wily with their music.
Free will and just doing it, you know, jumping on anybody's album that they can.
Yeah.
Well, the beautiful part too is when us changing the name from Deep Dive to Beyond the Credits and Chords gives us a little bit more leeway. We don't specifically have to do everything they've ever done. We can just be very comprehensive and get into everything without necessarily listening to every album. Because let's face it, a lot of those people and artists don't really grow beyond their years. I mean, most of those rappers you mentioned, they don't have that longevity. A lot of the artists that we talk about are artists that are like everlasting and you know, that are here for the long haul. And no disrespect to those guys. Hopefully they keep doing their grind and shit, but they know what I'm saying. I promise they know what I'm saying. You know, you look at like Tyler, the Creator. He started off a certain way, and now he has a big fan base, and they like what he does. And I hate every album that motherfucker puts out.
I do not like Tyler, the Creator, either. I think he's very subpar as a rapper. And I think Eminem, when he made fun of him on Kamikaze, nailed him. Like, he's just a 2-syllable rapper.
And that's fine. You know, if that's his style and he has what works for him, that's cool. But for us to do an episode on him, we wouldn't necessarily need to do every album. We would just listen to his big ones, you know, maybe graze those other albums, and then we could talk about it. So to address what you're saying, yeah, there's a lot less time in between, but at the same time, that could be good for us, you know, because if we're having something that's relevant every time that they drop something as well, we'll be here to talk about it. We'll be here to give our insights, you know. It is what it is. I get what you're saying.
I'll be here.
Mm-hmm. I'll be there.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was...
We do a karaoke episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, beyond that, we could even open the window, you know, to do things that Rex and I talked about early on, which was like, we did Starfield as an episode, so I would like to toss some video games in here. That's the only game we did do.
It's just a hard one to do because it takes a lot longer to beat a game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and plus do all the other stuff.
That we've all tackled, whether we finished it or not.
Like Silent Hill 2.
Would make it a little... There you go.
Oh, yeah, if we just were to do games we've all played or knowledge about certain franchises and shit, we can still do whatever we want. We don't necessarily have to be, you know... Like, we could do an episode on the Resident Evil franchise. I've played every one of those titles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we really need to play a new one necessarily to talk about it. So
Right.
So that would be cool, you know. And then TV shows, that's another one we were talking about doing. I know... Rex, you and I were watching Sopranos. We almost finished it. We got like 2.5 seasons left.
We gotta finish that, yeah.
So that would be a great one to talk about. And then newer ones would be cool because I have the hardest time moving on and watching new shows. So if we
I've got a bad time
like
doing that.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of shit out there. The content these days
is crazy. It's hard. It's overwhelming.
Everlasting, you know? Yeah.
It's kind of overwhelming, and I think that's part of the reason I go back to my familiar shit.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it easier for us, though, if you think about it, you know? Like, yeah, you want to go back to your familiar stuff, but it makes it easier for us to have so much at our disposal to kind of siphon through and find something that you may not necessarily know or like right off the bat, or that you're familiar with and you want to see if it continues on, whether that's, you know, a certain artist or show or, you know, music, certain things like that. So, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So we will be bringing video games and TV shows into the mix, no doubt, for a multitude of reasons. I think it'll add
because
good
we're
variety.
Nerds.
Yep. Fuck yeah, we are.
Fucking nerds.
Is there anything else you guys you want to talk about that we're going to cover this season, or that you're amped
No, I
to
don't
cover?
want to give too much away.
Yeah.
You know,
give a little taste.
I like that we've given a little toe in the pool, if you will. But I think, you know, obviously we haven't talked about a lot of other things that we are going to do. Things that, like you were saying earlier, might shock either one of you guys or shock the listener and thinking that, you know, oh, I got a pretty good idea of what this person listens to or likes or wants to watch. And then all of a sudden, left turn, you know, throw everybody off. So, no, I like to keep that allure of you just don't know what's going to happen next. So I'm looking forward to it.
And I'm hoping we have a few more guests this season
absolutely.
as well. This season as well. I think guests always add a certain extra element to the episode, so we should definitely bring that to the table, bring it in, see what we're doing, who we can bring.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, we know
Maybe
we can
bring
get
in
Jason
the residential expert. Yeah, if Jason's an expert on something that we might not all be familiar with. It's nice to have. Well, that's your flesh and blood. You can say whatever you like.
Well, I know
Jason.
He had expressed interest in talking about Rob Zombie as well.
There you go.
Like that.
That's
being on on the movie.
Absolutely.
But on the movie Rob Zombie end, not on the music Rob Zombie end, which is just so fucking funny to think about.
I figured that much.
So he'll definitely be on the Iron Maiden one.
That's the one that we have to do, and it'll be funny because Rob Zombie will be really interesting, and he might be one of the only instances of that. But when we do him, he'll have to have 2 separate episodes.
Oh, we're gonna do him.
Career and then movie career, and I can't think of actually maybe any other artist where that's the case. So that's kind of an exciting thought,
right?
But yeah, I'm sure we'll get some good hosts this time around. Maybe get some people that we haven't had before. Get some variation in there, and maybe let them pick the topic too. So
I was just thinking that.
Right.
We get the craziest stuff we can.
Right. Listen to the 3 of us complain about said topic. Like, oh, I'm so glad you're on the show. Why are we talking about this? Like,
why did you suggest Imagine Dragons? Fuck.
Oh God. Oh
Here
my
we
God. I'll be out sick that day.
All of Britney Spears' discography.
Hey,
wouldn't bother me.
We're doing that one. Britney Spears is a fucking legend.
I don't think that would bother me. Maybe.
All right, Rex. So I'm going to pencil that in because you mentioned that, and I can tell by the look on your face you don't want to do that one.
The first 2 or 3
Britney
albums
Spears.
are fine, but once she gets into later on times, it gets rough.
Once she got rid of the schoolgirl skirt,
once she got rid of the schoolgirl thing.
Well, I liked the red leather suit in, I think it was Oops, I Did It Again.
Album.
It doesn't matter. I'm not talking about albums. I'm talking about her outfits, okay? By the time she graduated from those sultry outfits, she definitely took a different route. So
I mean, I can't say I don't enjoy her now. She's dancing in her bikinis, holding knives.
You are waiting for your favorite ending of all, which, need I repeat,
no.
You're waiting for said individual to not be with us anymore, you sicko.
Doesn't really translate with musicians.
Oh my goodness!
Look, I'm sorry.
I think you're full of it. I think you're
just
because
Juice WRLD died doesn't mean I think his stuff's good now.
Oh God!
Still sucks. Sorry.
I've never seen so many like younger kids, that I either work with or like I've interacted with since he's died, be so upset about that. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Orange juice?
That's what I mean.
What kind of juice is he? Is he like? I don't.
I think he's a cranberry, like straight cranberry.
But I don't get it.
Dingleberry.
Like there's so many other rap artists that I'm familiar with that obviously I don't really care for because I don't listen to it out of pocket. But like, they have a bigger following and they have more of a catalog. And then I don't understand. Here's another thing. These guys always coming out with more music when they are dead than when they're alive. Like, I get they have all this stuff recorded and then they have this technology to do all that stuff, but I think that's so weird. Because it's like, okay, then who's collecting that money? It better be his family.
Mac Miller's about to come out with a new album, and that motherfucker's been dead for days. Another guy.
That's what I'm saying.
He has like one good album.
Michael Jackson's about to release a new album. He's
good. I knew that motherfucker was alive.
There's another one we'll talk about.
He and Elvis are still alive, bro.
Hawk? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The story is old as
Jada
time,
would have given that up by now. She would have left Will already and went back to Ghost Pac.
Hey, keep her name out your mouth. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't slap me. Don't slap me. Well, if you hear this, I'm sorry.
Get Chris
Will's
rocked.
not going to hear this.
I don't want to get Chris rocked.
All right. Well, I think that was a good segue into what's going to be the new season and the new name and the new theme song, which you guys heard at the beginning of the episode. Compliments of me. It took me forever to fucking come up with something that I did not hate.
It was a nice appetizer of an episode.
It was. So, as usual, we thank you for listening, and we will catch you next week. And I'm not going to even tell you what it is. You'll just have to tune in and see what that episode is.
I don't even know what it is.
Yes, you do.
Here we go.
Yes, you do.
You chimed in listening to it when we popped onto the Riverside.
I don't know anything.
Exactly. It's coming.
That's how crazy this podcast is getting. I don't even know.
Speaking of coming, we're going. We're on the way out. This is your boy Practical.
Danny Boy.
Rex.
And we'll catch you next week.
Bye.
Bye.